I'm going to make some marks on the cardstock first. And for that, I'm going to use the paper trimmer. Let me scoot it in between the camera here a little bit. Maybe you can see the measurements. I may have to zoom out more. I have to zoom out more. Alright, so let me see. There we go. I'm sorry about this. It's the camera that I broadcast from when I do the club meetings. So I can't remove it from my table, but I wanted you to see the cutter. We have a scoring and a cutting knife, and the darker one is the cutter and the lighter one is the scorer. So I'm going to move my cutter out of the way so I don't accidentally use it, because what I'm after right now is making a mark at 1 inch from the outside on top and on the bottom. So on the top and the bottom on the same spot, and nothing easier than using your trimmer with that. So I'm going to put the cardstock in my trimmer in portrait and align it at the 1 inch line on the right side over here. So I'm going to scoot it over, have it on the 1 inch line, and then I'm going to take my score plate and make a mark on the top and also on the bottom. I'm going to move the trimmer out of the way for just a second. And what that mark was for is I want to align this mark with the outside edge of the punch. So my tag will be at the same position on the top and on the bottom. So when I open it up, you can see that there's one on the top and one on the bottom, and they should be across from each other. Now the punch, of course, is not really made for white cardstock, but we can kind of trick it a little bit. And to do that, we simply angle the cardstock going into that and then pull it to the back. And then I'm going to make sure that A, it's all the way to the back, and B, that score mark is aligned with the housing of the punch. Yeah. And then we punch. There's one. And then I'm going to just flip the cardstock to the opposite side. I'm going to do the same thing, slide it in all the way to the back and align the mark with the punch. So there, let me zoom out so you can see. We got them across from each other. So after I punch those, now I want to cut out the little tabs on each side of it. I'm going to use my paper trimmer for that, and essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to align the inside of the punch shape, that line in here, with the cutting track so I can cut it away. Alright, I'm going to do that. I'm going to place it right on here on the cutting track, and then I'm just going to move my cutter blade slowly towards that indentation, and I will feel when it dips, and that means that I have to stop. And you could have maybe seen that on the camera too. I'm going to do the same from the top down. And then while I have it laying on here, I'm going to use my score plate and score across to make that gatefold on the right side of the card. Then I'm going to flip it or rotate it and align that inside here again with the cutting track. And do it top and bottom. And then I'm going to align the outside of this card at 4 1/4, because that's how wide our card is. So over here at 4 1/4. Make sure we're not using the cutting plate, and we're just going to score. So there is our card with the tag gate.